live. Okay, greetings in the love and in the light of the one infinite creator. I'm Andre, and I'm here with Ed, Fred, and Adam, and we will be reading the LL research session from January 27, 2024. And so yeah, first we invite the Confederation of Planets in service to the one infinite creator, and the inner plane guides, and the one infinite creator that is within us all and all around us, to help us have a smooth, healthy, and loving and kind service to others experience in this reading and discussion period. All right. So the topics are dealing with negativity in one's life path, spiritual practices for mental wellness, maintaining connection to source energy, spiritual practices, sharing and love, usefulness of sacred plant medicines, abundance and healing beliefs of lack, limiting beliefs and true nature of self, negative attachments, spiritual protection, self-love, self-reliance, and support. Adam, I was wondering if you wanted to help with the reading today. Ed, if you didn't, just because you have a bit of a cough there, if you're not trying to speak, could you just mute yourself, just so.
I was trying to pull it up here. I'm at the library from.
Oh, are you able to see it?
Click on a few more.
If you click on, do you see it? It should be popped up for you. No. There's a little window. January 27th. No, you're not seeing the text.
I see the text where it says January 27th, 2024.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Well, I guess I'll read the first one for now, and then hopefully you'll know.
I mean, I could read it off your sharing screen. I was just pulling it up.
Oh, you have an independent one. That's fine.
That's what I was saying.
Okay. All right. Did you want to start with this reading then?
Sure, I can read that.
Okay, go ahead.
And then you just scroll when we get down lower.
Okay, sure.
So, I am Quo, and great each present in the love and the light of the one infinite creator. We are most honored to be with this group today. We feel your presence as the open heart that each you shared in your round robin before this session began. We are most pleased to be able to bask in this love and light that is the creator shining throughout each of you. We have been able to make clear contact with this instrument and this group because of the devotion of each in the group to seek the truth of their own spiritual journeys. And we are very happy to entertain the queries which we are within the hearts and the minds of each present. We would ask that as we make our response to your queries, you consider what we say upon our response. And that is possible. What we say will not meet your needs. If that is the case, does not matter your needs. If that is the case, whatever does not meet your needs, please let it be forgotten and focus only upon that which has meaning to you. If you will grant us this favor, we will be more able to speak freely to you. At this time, we ask if there is a query with which we may begin.
Yes, I have a query. I won't make it personal. I'll make it general. When a person attempts to work with, or I guess you'd say against, but work with the negativity in how they view things, and how do we differentiate? And is it even necessary to differentiate between negativity that is coming from the other side, the dark side, the people who are friends, and differentiate between those thoughts that seem to be put in your head to keep you going in a different direction, negative direction? Or are they things just the product of your own mind with your negativity that you've developed over the years or came here with? How do you tell the difference? And is it even necessary to try to tell the difference? That ought to do it. Oh, Adam, you're muted.
Gotcha.
Okay.
I am Quo, and I am aware of your query, my brother. It is one which each seek the truth will find a pairing with its consciousness from time to time, for you are not all things. Is not the creator in each from alive within you as well? As you perceive any type, what we would call negativity, that which is dark, that which is separate, that which is seeks to control. It really is not a matter of source, whether to be on outside of yourself, for you are not a reflection of each other, of
Are
the
you not?
one creator.
Mm-hmm.
So then the question becomes, how does any person and seeker of truth deal with that which is able to be of negative nature and of critical nature, separating, controlling, dark, unknown, bringing difficulty and disparity to the life path? We will suggest that the image, the thoughts, the words, the manifestation of negativity that you feel at any time and meditate upon the sense of darkness and negativity of separation, so forth, and bring that sense of darkness into light of your heart, of your being, of your mind, and your spirit. Take it within yourself and bless it. Give it the food of your love, the attention of the light, and that shines forth through you from the Creator. This is the Creator. Speaking to the Creator. Realize when you realize the reality of the situation, then that which seems negative can be made into which is of the light, which is positive, which shines upon all of the self and other selves, and brings each into the infinite love and light of the one infinite creator. This is the journey of every seeker in your third density illusion, to find that in which to be of service to others, whether their nature, whatever their expression or manifestation of their life path may be as perceived by you. This is the great work. And we commended your fastidiousness in seeking to accomplish this work within yourself. Is there any further question, my brother?
All right. Great. So we're gonna pause there and discuss this. All right. So, Ed or Adam, did you? Ed, you have a comment?
Straight away,
Go ahead.
it comes down to the best thing you can ever think in any way about any negative situation. You know, if you with love, beam love at it. That is basically the underlying question, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is also another beautiful example of the Quo shadow work thing.
Okay.
You know, like where he's saying that, like, you know, the reason that you even perceive something as negative is because of the separation. And then by viewing that negative thing and understanding it inside yourself,
Mm-hmm.
and then understand why that affects you in that way, you effectively do inner work of you know, understanding and loving any situation, no matter how dark, no matter whatever, accepting it, embracing it, becoming better because of it, rather than letting it make you negative.
I love that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It kind of sounded like it was basically saying that when we have all these thoughts, go into meditation and you'll find the answers.
Mm-hmm. Yes, for
That is
sure.
kind of Quo's answer to everything, to be fair, though, isn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah,
Really?
it is. It is. Yeah. It's so here under key points for seekers it says understanding the unity of all, recognizing that every form of negativity, separation, or control is not separate from you. It reflects the interconnectedness of all existence. And it shifts our perspective here. The mirror of existence. Acknowledge that what we perceive as negative in others is a reflection of our inner world. And that helps us have more compassion and empathy for them. And then transforming darkness with light. When confronted with negativity, instead of resisting, we're encouraged to meditate upon it, bringing it to the light, into the light of our hearts. This process involves acknowledging the negativity and understanding its nature. And then the power of love. Oh, I'm hearing an echo from Amanda. Am I on speaker over there? Hey, Amanda.
I'll just turn you off.
Okay. Hi, Amanda. Great to see you. Thanks for joining. Service to others. Our journey through the third density illusion involves learning to serve others, commitment to inner work, embracing the journey. So yeah, those are all aspects to do. And there's stuff happening in the world. Okay, so now we'll move on to the next one, and okay, that's fine. Thank you very much. Is there another query? Okay, Adam, you want to read this query, and then
Sure
I'll
thing,
read the
brother.
answer. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Quo, you heard during the round robin how I was describing how I labeled myself with the seasonal affective disorder winter after winter, due to the gloomy days as I perceive them, and how this year is not happening. And I've incorporated a number of psychological methods, setting intentions, sending love to those who I've been angry with, forgiveness, and showing gratitude. I am asking this because I have patients who are desperate,
Depressed.
depressed, and I want to understand you. Know what are the highlights? What are the ones that most affect, that are impacting me? Effective, that are impacting me. How much is that? How much might be the group of 8 strategies, praying with patience in the group, and then having patience. Now pray for others. How much of my mood better is that? How much of my better mood is that I feel that I am on my spiritual pathway, following up on the lead and every opportunity that comes through to create success in their creation. So I know the answers to some extent is all of the above. But maybe what are the highlights if I have a patient who comes in with seasonal affect disorder? What are the things that you think have the strongest impact?
I'm Kuo, and I'm aware of your query, my brother. Again, this is a query which each conscious spiritual seeker of truth will find it is necessary to answer in a way which is effective for the self and for those that one comes into contact with who seek those answers from you as well. We feel that your beginning statement of setting the intention is the foundation upon which all of the rest of your suggestions may be built, for the intention is that which is within you of great power. It is how you direct your path every day, whether it is an intention that you are consciously making, or one that perhaps has gotten away from your consciousness, has moved into your subconscious, and manifests in a way that may not be as helpful if you were able to take it into your consciousness would be. Thus, we would suggest that whatever tools one feels might be helpful in the manifesting of the intention, whether it be prayer, exercise, imaging, or any manner of expressing the energy of your mind, body, and spirit, in a way that moves into your conscious intention and into the heart of your being, is that which will be effective for you and for each of your students. This is a manner in which each seeker of truth moves forward in the spiritual path, and that there are those ways of perceiving one's reality which are reflections to you of the path which you are traveling. The path of being able to polarize your consciousness in a positive sense of service to others, of seeing the Creator in others, of opening your heart in unconditional love, of giving that which is yours uniquely to give as you feel the moment calls for you to give. Any tool may be used effectively if the seeker wishes to grow, to expand its experience and acceptance of the world around it and the world inside of it. This is the means by which all structures of spiritual nature within the being are constructed, so that the expenditures of energies will be funneled in a way that is effective to make the intention manifest. All right. You guys want to give some commentary on that?
Okay, he just basically laid out like the full-on, most basic, simple principles of magic
What
I've ever
was
heard
it
in my life.
about? I came in the middle of it. I don't know.
Oh, well, I just read the
Besides
whole
seasonal affect
section.
disorder and a doctor asking for information about patient care or something like that.
Yeah, seasonal affective disorder. That's right. Yeah. So that I'm
Winter
pretty sure you were here
depression,
for both the
basically.
question and the answer, Amanda. Yeah. You heard the whole thing. Okay, Ed, continue where you were.
Okay, so he was talking about seasonal affective disorder and how the guy feels like now he's on his spiritual path, he's getting over it. He's forgiving all the people, he's doing all the right things, and he wants to know what's important to tell his students, right? Yeah. So then Quo's basically just laid out, set your intention, arbitrary process. Can you hear me, Amanda?
Yes. Oh, well, I can hear you.
Sorry.
I don't know if Amanda
There it
can
is.
hear you. Mm-hmm.
Anyway, he laid out the process whereby, essentially, lots of chaos magic books break down the process of how magic works. It's very, very simple. Set your intention, arbitrary process, pass the message off to higher self or whatever else, manifestation of new reality. That's basically what he just laid out there as a cure for any kind of mental illness or for how to how you know that you're on your path. He just like linked it all together. But once you're on your path, then you're doing these things that act in the right way to then manifest the outcomes you want.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
like a sentence. There's whole books written
Yeah.
trying to just get down that process right there that he did in like a paragraph.
Yeah.
I love Crow, man.
It also seemed very, very basic to me, like intention, and like that's what we're seeing here in the points for seekers, like foundation of intention, subconscious versus conscious, tools for manifesting intentions, the intention and the uniqueness of contribution, construction force, expansion through intention. So it's really very intention based, and then
It's full on Chaos Magic 101
mm-hmm,
by
mm-hmm.
Alien.
I think
Just saying.
yeah. You know, what they say is that it adds the quality of the contact is dependent on the readiness of the participants. And I think that, maybe these are some people that are new to this, and so we're getting some introductory kind of material here.
But you say that, but he said there was a good channel.
Mm-hmm.
Right at the beginning, didn't he? So,
Oh, okay, yeah.
he wouldn't be saying that if it was whatever. I personally really like these ones.
You do.
There's so
Okay,
many
well, that's
little
very good.
gems
Mm-hmm.
where they, either Quo answers the question or Ra answers the question. And the answer he gives back is, it answers the question, but it also gives a shitload more depth than you think is there. And like when you start just looking at the layout of what he said, it's very, very basic. It's right out there with what Quo normally says, but the order in which he said it and the things he's talking about, the changing of the self to change the outcome in reality. That is basically magic right there.
Adam or Amanda, did you guys want to comment on this section as well before we move on?
Yeah. I was thinking
Back in a second.
Okay.
it sounded like, how do you treat depression? So Quo just was given a list of things saying, note what helps you and what doesn't help you. There's like a bunch of rituals and practices that'll balance you. And he's basically saying that anyone could do this. And remember, as you're on this path, to polarize and to give as you feel is needed. Accept and notate your outer world and see love in everything.
Very good. Amanda, how about you? Did you want to add anything, or are you good for now?
And yeah, I missed most of it because your AirPods screwed up. So.
Oh, okay.
We can
maybe for the next one. All right.
Right.
Okay. All right. I'll continue reading here. So he switched to Austin as the channel. I'm Kuo, and am now with this instrument. As we settle into our connection with this instrument, we would offer some short words of gratitude for the circle. We offer our gratitude to this instrument for the fidelity in the challenging process that we find increases in its effect and tuning as it is reiterated with each challenge. We offer our gratitude to the tuning of the circle in the process of what you would call the round robin, and the environment and the atmosphere cultivated by the continual sharing of life's joys and sorrows, hopes and fears, in the creating of this space in which all of these experiences and catalysts can be offered. Not just those seeming to be happy and positive, but those challenges that present opportunities for you as seekers. While sharing these things in such an environment may not immediately resolve the disharmonies or the difficulties you experience with them, it does bring such experiences into a light that presents them as part of the spiritual journey that unfolds within the love and light of the infinite Creator. And it is an honor for us to witness such a sharing and to be invited to take part in such a group of seekers. At this time, we would ask if there's a query in which we may respond. So I think that was just like a gratitude, feel-good stuff. So Adam, did you want to read the question?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a question. As we seek to operationalize unconditional benevolence towards other selves.
Okay, wait a sec. Can I just interrupt there, dude?
Oh.
Can I interrupt?
Okay, what is it?
Sorry to interrupt, but can I just say, is operationalized unconditional benevolence towards others Quo's name for magic? I'm just asking.
I don't know.
No, it's not Quo that's asking it. It's
no,
us.
I know, but like as we seek, as in like that's what they're all trying to do there.
I think Kuo had a different definition of magic, in that it was kind of bringing intention into manifestation.
But that's what the last statement was about.
Yes, that one was magic.
The operationalization, as in turning the act of benevolent, unconditional benevolence towards others, into something that you can operationally use.
Yes. So that would be a type of white magic. It would be a type of white magic.
Exactly. Do you see what I'm poking at here? With
yes.
a big, that's magic on the stick.
I hear you, yes. All right.
Okay, anyway,
let's Adam, let Adam finish.
I felt really rude, but I felt that had to be asked, you know?
Fair enough.
No, sorry.
Okay, go ahead, Adam.
I've noticed that the will and the effort to see the past surface language and behaviors of those who are deeply lost in the illusion is exhausting and depleting. I imagine This is due to the fact that I am a finite entity disconnected from intelligent energy. How do more evolved beings maintain their connection to the source of all energy while attempting to love without condition or expectation, so that they are not so easily depleted of the ability to present love to those who so desperately needed it?
Very good. Thank you, Adam. I'm Kuo, and I'm aware of the query, my brother. We appreciate the care put into such heart-centered and thoughtful expression of your desire to seek and share the love of the Creator. We would begin by reminding and reiterating that the environment in which you find yourself now, the veiled third density illusion, is one in which the illusion of finiteness is quite palpable, you may say. And this is particularly true upon your planetary influence, as your planet has evolved to a point nearing an expression of fourth density, and this evolution brings about a certain complications, as energies in the group mind of your planet attempts to untangle many distortions that have been developed and hidden for many generations. In addition to this, there have been a very rapid evolution of technology and connection among you as humans, which requires each individual to come into contact more and more with a wider variety of interpersonal experiences. These experiences have become greater and greater in everyday life of each seeker. In times past upon your planet, the volume of experiences in this nature was limited to those. We pause to allow the second density friend to settle. Probably a cat. I am Kuo, and I am again with this instrument. We offer our gratitude for the greetings of the one known as Bosco, for he is indeed our friend, and we are quite familiar with his friendly energy. To continue our response, the times that you find yourself in now are unique and cause a greater strain upon the complex web of energies of the individual seeker. This is the depleting effect that you have referenced, and we remind you of this complicated nature of your current situation in order to give you context that may allow you to, you might say, give yourself a break, to relieve you or any self-judgment or pressure that you may feel to perform to a certain standard, for you find yourself in an incredibly difficult environment, and even just the desire to share love and any attempt to do so resounds with the greatest clarity of the love and light of the one infinite Creator. To speak more to the heart of your query, we may reiterate a very common lesson that we attempt to share in many contexts, and that is the meditative practice, the will to find space within one's life where one may go inside and discover the silence within the self, to discover the Creator within the self, the aspect of the self that has generated your desire to love and to share love and to manifest the unconditional acceptance of all around you. Attempting to continually rediscover this nature within yourself on a regular basis and making this a habit can then increase your capacity to find the self which is a source of energy in all situations, so that as a muscle that grows stronger you may respond with greater and greater endurance and greater capacity to share love and to see past, as you have noted, the complex distortions of those about you and see the reflection of the source of love within others in a more natural and easy way, so that the natural path forward to how you may serve in any given moment seems more instinctual. So you do not have to try as hard to discover the love within yourself and contemplate the ways in which you may act and contextualize the behavior and the thoughts and words of those about you in order to find acceptance for them. It becomes a more natural process. The so-called highly evolved beings that you reference in your query are those who have developed such pathways. either through regular practice within their current incarnation or through many incarnations, and have been able to maintain these pathways so that the reflective nature of the generative source of love within the self is seen within others without effort, and the words and challenges that others may offer to you are seen for the illusory nature that they contain, the distortions that are innate within them. There is no longer a need to work through them, and it becomes a natural reflex to see directly to the creator within the other self as the creator within the self. All right. You guys want to reflect on that for now? Ed, Ahmed?
Anyone? Not got anyone? To Amanda, anyone?
Well, continue meditation. The guy asked how, what was his name at or D?
Mhm.
Who was the guy that was
D, yes, D.
Okay, D. So he asked the question, how did they get so close to intelligent infinity? From what I got of it. So meditation, and keep working at it. Love yourself, meditate, open up. You know, that's what I get out of it. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's pretty basic stuff.
See, I got quite a lot out of that.
Oh, go ahead.
So,
Okay.
I really liked the bit with the cat. That was just awesome. But when he's talking about kind of the bit where near the end, where he's saying that when you meet others, you see their distortions.
Mm-hmm.
So you see the creator in them, and you see the distortions that make them them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you accept it and you understand them for who they are, because you know them for other self, and you can see them inside you because you understand the mirroring process that you go through during meditation. Yeah, so you understand yourself better. By understanding yourself better, you understand your connection to source better. You understand your distortions, your you know, what's wrong with you, and by understanding that and the how to rectify those distortions in the self, you're able to kind of understand how those work in others. You know, I think that's kind of how empathy works a lot of the time.
Well,
You
right.
guys, once I go through something, I don't ever want to put that on anyone else.
Right.
You know, like
it's like unconditional acceptance of everybody. You know, everybody, like you said, everybody has different distortions. So, like you said, that if you understand yourself in all your distortions, you're going to understand somebody else, and there's more of an acceptance, you know, of the other people or beings, whatever, you know, everybody.
Mm-hmm. Adam?
You know, the better that you understand yourself, the more kind of background understanding and knowledge you've got to be empathic, to actually understand and actually put yourself in compassionately in their place and understand actions, you know, that you don't always agree with, but you understand. You know, so therefore you can have forgiveness, and you can have kind of an empathic mirroring connection to them, no matter who they are, and how you might perceive them or how they might affect you.
I had this visualization as the answer was being read, and it was like when you just wake up and you start meditating, your aura is like right against your body almost, probably super weak. And then as you meditate and do more breath work and exercises and yoga, your aura gets stronger, and then it gets to a point where it's like 6 inches away from you, and then further and further. And I imagine as you do the inner work on the chakras, and when you get to the heart chakra, your aura is like huge, and it's just like anyone around you have compassion for, and it's like they're already inside of you and your aura because you've done the work. But it's definitely talking about doing the inner work and strengthen that muscle of meditation and even normal muscles.
I had something I wrote down the other day. live peaceful in your heart, and that type of peace will spread. You know, it spreads by you being an example of the peacefulness, and that's, you know, the unconditional love and acceptance. I think that all has to do, it makes it complete.
Mm-hmm.
So something
What is it, Rara?
I
They
don't-
used to say when you start doing the work, you start to like shine.
Mhm.
You know, you start to glow. You know, like in the metaphysical sense, you become like a beacon, like a shining
Right.
star in the sea of everything. Yeah, that's the same thing. That's the expansion of the aura. That's the you know, you connect into those energies. You charging those energies through your body. It produces biophotons that, you know, we can't see, but
Mhm.
that's all they can see.
Right.
You know, like we I don't know if you guys have ever done any kind of like the Saint Germain kind of violet flame, the meditations or anything, but there's a part in that where they try to get you to extend your aura. And I've done this kind of extending your aura thing quite a lot, and just being able to kind of feel and connect to everything inside your field, as it were, and then you kind of fill the whole thing with love. So you're essentially just trying to kind of harmonize and connect everything inside that thing. And I mean, I've had it so it's like, you know, well, I've tried to cover the whole world before. Do you know what I mean? But it's hard to keep that kind of concentration. But like, you know, huge areas, and the thing is, when you do that, you do actually feel like you have expanded, like your consciousness has expanded that far. You know, so this whole idea of stretching that muscle and then putting that work in and pushing everything out further and further and further, it's, you know, it all seems very real as you get there and you start doing these things.
I know that
Yeah.
when I've meditated in the morning and noon and then in the evening, you know, with various people. And I know when I backed off a little bit because I was doing so much, there is a difference. So the meditation is a practice that should be a regular basis.
Yeah,
What
and
I've noticed.
like one of the summary points here that I like most is the building endurance and capacity for love. View your capacity to share love as a muscle that requires regular exercise, and through consistent practice, discover an increased ability to act from a place of love, effortlessly extending understanding and acceptance to others. So I think that kind of encapsulates what you guys were saying in terms of you know, the aura and the practicing and things like that. And there's a follow-up question, so maybe we'll get more info here. Adam, did you want to read the follow-up?
The follow-up question is related to the experience of spontaneity and the response that you just described, which seems afforded by certain compounds or plant medicines that we are blessed with from Mother Earth to help us feel that way. But we cannot. They don't. They wear off. They don't last forever. They seem to give a glimpse and allow us to feel the flow of unconditional love towards other selves. It is there a wise use of these compounds in the healing the self and the other selves? Question mark.
Very good. Thank you, Adam. I'm Kuo, and I'm aware of your query, my brother. In the simplest context, we may respond in the affirmative, that there can exist, in the wise use of such gifts that have been given to your planet by your planetary sphere, However, we would reiterate that we of the Confederation of Planets, in service to the one infinite creator, have found it infinitely more efficacious to suggest that a regular spiritual practice of meditation be the foremost attempt to discover the quality of love and the pathways that these other types of experiences given by substances can be discovered. For one who attempts and discovers these qualities within meditation need not rely upon any particular outward distortion or substance or circumstance in order to discover these things within the self. And so, as you have formed your query, your opinion is that such experiences that have positive impacts for the seeker can serve as a type of reminder and even a type of guiding star to show to that seeker what is possible and what can exist if the seeker has the will and the faith to follow a dedicated path of inner seeking, and trust that within one's life one can find a way to manifest these experiences and the awareness that can be offered in these altered states, through the capacities of the self alone and in this discipline. Then such substances are no longer needed or called for, and one can even share these types of experiences through one's own quality of being with others. Very good.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys want to comment on that?
Hey, they've been saying these questions quite a lot. Have you not noticed this?
Yeah, well, I guess it's common in terms of people that show up.
It seems to be quite a current theme at the minute, doesn't it?
Yes, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, quote, please give us permission to get smashed. Yay!
well, okay, so the stuff that I've been, a guy I watched, Psychedelics. I watched that series, and they all say that when you do these types of earth medicines, and it can open you up to receive, but if you continuously use it, it can become more of a psychological addiction, or I don't know if it's physical either, but you want to get that feeling of whatever somebody gets. Everybody's different with their awakening, or however the medicine works on them. So they say use it with prudence and be careful, but in actuality a good regime of meditation and doing the work, the shadow work, doing all that other kind of stuff is actually probably preferable, because you don't need to rely on the medicine. So I don't know if that resonates, but it certainly does with me. I've never done any ayahuasca or any of that kind of stuff, so I don't know. I don't know what it would do. So yeah. Other than a CBD gummy, which doesn't have anything in it, so I don't know.
Yeah, that's not psychoactive.
No.
Yeah. Adam, did you have any?
Yeah, I mean, you guys all know my thoughts on this.
Yeah.
I have a very, very shamanic kind of, what's it called, panpsychist view.
Mm-hmm.
That essentially these molecules, as they're described, are made in a way of communicating with entities far bigger than ourselves. Things that know more, that can teach us more, and by using them, the reason that addictions form is because of the fact that we don't really have a way of connecting to these energies naturally, just in the normal way. We don't even know they're there most of the time.
Well, through meditation.
And until somebody points out that that's what the drug does, you don't know that that's what you're connecting to, but you just connect to that energy and you connect to it. Now with the meditation thing, right, like Alan Watts, he always used to say that meditation should be done something that you should set an intention for. You should go and do it for a reason. Mm-hmm. Rather than like the Buddhist way where you meditate like 3 hours a day, and essentially the point is to think nothing. Yeah, he says that shouldn't be how you do it. He said that it should really kind of be done medicinally. Sorry, Andre, I don't mean to go on. Like, yeah. He said that, and this is how he put it, direct quote. Meditation should be done like LSD. It should be medicinal, not dietary.
Well,
Right. The point is, you're like quote says the other way around. Should definitely be like dietary. I agree, but you know the sorry, Andrew, like you want to jump in?
Yeah. Oh, well, I just wanted to add some clarifying statements there because you know I'm pretty well versed in Buddhism, and though I agree with at least Zen, the school of Zen Buddhism, they indeed the main meditation they have, because they're so far from where Buddhism originated in Nepal, the only one that they remember or know is the one where you focus on nothing and you have no thoughts, and they have those koans and things like that. But like the ones that are closer to Nepal, like in Tibetan Buddhism and Theravada, there's thousands of different kinds of meditations, and
of course, there's the same in Hinduism, man. Like there's like, I was talking in generalization, right? I was saying like the general difference between what you class as Eastern and Western types of meditation is more like the active and passive form. Like the point, most Eastern types of meditation are a passive meditation where you remove yourself and you open up or whatever else. Whereas a lot of Western meditation comes to the point of when you remove yourself, that's when the work starts.
Well,
dude, jump in.
Yeah. Well, it's just that at least in Tibetan meditations, a lot of it is about visualization, and they're very active. So, for instance, the most common kind in tantric meditation is a form of divinization. So where there is the deity, and then you are thinking about the qualities of the deity and imagining yourself having those qualities. And you are becoming deity by you. I am the most merciful and most compassionate. I am the most loving and the most kind. And
yeah, dude, seriously, dude, like we all know where this leads with Tantra, okay?
Well,
you know the point of personifying a god. We all get it, yeah.
Well,
okay.
they found studies it improves people's cognitive performance after they do these meditations.
I bet sticking your thing into a goddess really improves lots of stuff, right?
Well, you know, that is a common misunderstanding.
I'm just saying.
That is a common misunderstanding because originally.
No, it's not. No, it's not. I read a full of multiple layered textbook on how the whole thing works, and the initial initiation is you make a girl take on the energies of a goddess that you then give your seeds to.
Let me.
Dude, it's all part of the process, man.
Okay,
seriously.
Originally they would get married, and it was their wife.
Yes, married.
No, really, because it was the Ngakpa. They were householder monks. They had a household. They would farm, and then they had a wife and a house and children. And so they integrated every part of it into their life. In modern Western view of Tantra has deeply corrupted it and taken it away from the family and the household and turned it into some kind of pornographic
I was reading
thing.
Eastern books. These were not Western books. Anyway, can I just say, this whole idea of somebody embodying a spirit to then, connect to in a physical way is not new. It's very, very old. It's been all the way over India, Nepal, all of that region. It is a common practice. And can I just say, it was very, very common in really early Europe. In fact, in Greece, it was very, very common. And in Rome, in the Roman Empire, they actually had kind of temples that you went to that were essentially really kind of brothels where you'd go in and you would give your seed to a goddess or to a deity who would basically just be a very pretty girl who was being paid to be there pretending to be a goddess.
Yeah, that was the Mesopotamian religions. They were all based on that.
But all of these things led from these same places, man. Like the links between like the real kind of core of where the Hindu beliefs came from, the Vedas and everything. It's all the same stuff, dude. It's just retellings of the same story. It's all of the law of one given more distortion, right?
Right. Well,
can I just say, like the Vedas, like the Upanishad and that is the closest books to actually describing proper pantheism and like the law of one concepts out of any of the religions. I'd say like far more than Buddhism. In my opinion, you just have to look past all the allegory and all the names of all the different goddesses and gods and all the huge nonsense attached to it. If you see past all that, it all tells the same story. Exactly the same as Ra tells it, really. It's just different.
All right. So just final points on what we were talking about. Basically, is the primacy of meditation is the most important part. So even if someone is using either sexuality or substances, the idea is to still keep that focus on the spiritual journey, and then to integrate that into your life, integrating those insights, and then share your insights, like transform yourself to become that guiding star for other people, just by being you, just by being love in that moment. I know another great quote from the Confederation is that it can be healing simply to listen to someone with an open heart. So someone has, they're venting or something like that, and then you just listening to them with compassion and love and kindness for everyone involved, and seeing the divine within everyone involved, that is healing in itself. All right. So
can I just say the way you just described it, dude, like that really kind of like reminded me of the whole path of the hermit. We were doing about the tarot archetypes and that. This whole sense of like, you do drugs to then learn to get these glimpses of the higher, the possibilities, the connections between things, and then you come back, to your body, and like the whole alchemical process, man. Solve coagulate. Do you know what I mean? Right, you put it in from the heavens, and you bring down to the body. Yeah, like that's what all the symbolism is, what Baphomet's saying, right? So the idea of rising up, seeing something up there, and then bringing back to the body, that's the alchemical process, right? Right. Not only that is when you look at kind of the really ancient tribal uses of these medicines, the witch doctor, the shaman or whatever, he would take the chemical and then he would disappear out into the woods, on his own, and him and that chemical would commune, and he'd go mad and howl at the moon, but the information he brought back would be this same pure information that everyone got when they went and did these things. And that was the thing, like these communications were pure, these were channelings. Even if they were like a crazy person while it was happening, then they brought back that information and they taught that to the tribe, and that became the basis of how we live and how we understand spirituality and all these other things, right? So the chemicals are still here now. We should be doing the same alchemical process. It shouldn't be something that we do for fun and we think, this is great, I'll grab this, it'll be well laugh, isn't it? No, it should be something where, you do this for a spiritual reason, to learn something, to bring back, to coagulate the spirit into something on earth.
All right, Adam, would you
rules, man?
Yeah.
What about when Jane, she smoked and drank a beer and she got into a flow, I would say. I mean, that's what she did. And so maybe some people, I mean, if she was channeling, so maybe she just needed to relax and, let it flow and stuff like that. I can understand that.
I'm not familiar with which Jane you're talking about.
Oh, well, the one
Seth material. The Seth material.
Oh, the Seth material.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I consider that was definitely not as advanced a contact with the Confederation.
So Tom of the Nine, So Tom of the Nine, for the 9 year, I had to ask permission from them to come here and channel. Tom said that basically she is directly channeling her higher self.
Oh, I see.
Right?
Seth is her higher self.
And her higher self is really high up. He's like just knocking on the door for 7.
Oh.
Well, I don't know. Seth was not that high.
No, seriously. But because he's his high, because he's high. He is purely her higher self. He has a very, very particular like polarity and viewpoint on the universe and on all of it. But he says things. He says things that are all of it ties in perfectly with what we know.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah,
all of it
it's all
does. I haven't
spiritual
heard a single
information.
thing that doesn't.
Mhm.
But he has weird ways of putting things, man. Like, you know, like, whereas at one point he said something like, you don't have to be afraid of some golden god gobbling you up at the end of the universe. You know, like,
Moloch.
he kind of toys with oneness in this odd way, right? And then he also says that, you know, he knows that you exist in between octaves, right? So you know how Ra said that they've spoken to other people from other galaxies, and he said that they spoke to people that survived from the previous octave, right? Seth seems to know stuff like from that previous octave.
All right.
Anyway, Andre.
Okay. Well, we have a little more than halfway to go, and we're more than halfway through the thing.
I digress.
Okay. Adam, could you read the question? You're just muted right now.
Right.
Okay.
I am, quote, if someone is in such despair that they think that ending their life is the only way to stop that, can you speak of some words of wisdom that might help?
All right. Thank you, Adam. I'm cool and am aware of the query, my sister. Indeed, we find that within your illusion, the depths of separation can manifest in such painful ways that the notion of departing from the incarnation to escape this pain is not uncommon upon your planet, and we feel within our own hearts the sorrow and the depth of separation that can create this, and we offer you, our sister, our love in this capacity for any experiences that you have gone through that cause you to present this query. In terms of any wisdom that we can offer, we find it a difficult situation to address from our standpoint, for we have a clear view of the process of the mind-body-spirit complex that can incarnate and reincarnate, and so from our point of view there is no end to life, there is only a cycle, there is a continuation, and while the difficulty that creates such a situation is very palpable to us, it is difficult for us to relate to the pain generated by the situation for the other selves about one who makes this choice to exit the incarnation proactively. We can only offer our words of comfort and encouragement that the best thing you can do in any situation is to open your heart as much as possible and discover within that how you may respond no matter what the circumstance is. The attempt to discover unconditional love and share it may look different in each situation, particularly in types of situation that you have referenced. For each time a person wishes to travel this path will not look the same. Each individual may be reacting to different circumstances that have led them to this decision. And so we cannot address things in a specific way, but only encourage that so long as faith is cultivated within the self on a regular basis, one may tap into that faith in a given moment and attempt to share that love that one knows one has within one's heart in the greatest way. And we would remind each individual seeker that, though one may be successful in discovering and shining that love and light in any given moment, that the free will of your illusion will take precedence within the actions of your other selves. You cannot control how another will receive your love. You cannot cause any specific change in their behavior or action. Through sharing your love, you can only offer an opportunity for them to recognize this love as a reflection that exists within themselves, and in your attempts to do so, you increase the chance that they might discover healing necessary to, you may say, step back from the ledge and reconsider the quality of life that they felt was missing in that scenario. But your illusion is difficult, and we simply wish to remind all that no matter what unfolds, the love and light of the one infinite Creator can abound, and there is no end to experience, and where there is deep pain, there will also be, at some point in that path of each individual, a deep love and healing. This is one thing that we can share with complete certainty, that all is reconciled and all is healed. All right, that's a reassuring message.
I'm gonna say it again, Andre, dude. I seriously love your English voice. It's so cool.
Thanks.
Can I like deep fake that voice and just have that read me books all day?
Sure, man. Sure. It's the classic channeling space entities voice.
Well, I love it, dude. I want it to be my Siri voice. I want like literally, deep fake me that. Go on that 11 Labs. I want like exact your voice, and I'm just gonna get it to read every single book I get. I'm gonna write a PDF reader just to house your voice.
Well, you tell me how that goes. Okay.
Well, yeah, I don't know.
Make it.
You're the AI guy. I'm just gonna ask you for help. Anyway.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know. I don't think that would be humble enough, because my Anabaptist, you know.
Well, just don't tell them it's you.
Okay.
They won't know.
Points for seekers regarding the following. But yeah, I mean, it's part of my video, so you can get the audio from my video.
That's it. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna deep fake you and not even tell you. Yes.
I mean, you can tell me after. Yeah.
No, I'll get you to tell you after. Yes.
Oh, okay, that'll be great. All right. So, does anyone have any comments on this particular passage?
Okay, so from somebody who has, attempted these horrible things before, it can be actual physical pain that can be very hard to live with and live through. And like when we don't have any kind of clear understanding of reincarnation, it'd be like a release. I suppose, kind of worryingly, if you did have a real understanding of reincarnation, you could be like, well, look, sod this, pull a mulligan on this life, I'm just going to come in for the next one.
Just the thing is that you would still have to repeat all the same lessons in all the same scenarios. And so you're really not getting out of anything. And I know in another part of the Confederation of Planets material, they say that spiritual growth is only possible when you have a body. And so basically what people are doing when they're like, oh, I'm overwhelmed by this scenario and I think that it will end by my death, it doesn't. It actually just stays that way until you reincarnate and then work through the catalyst. And so then you're stuck for however long feeling kind of like that for until you reincarnate. So it's not actually a good thing.
That would suck.
Yes,
that would suck.
And so it's much better to.
The Voice of Venus, there's a bit where he talks about how people need to be healed after, like spiritually healed after killing themselves, because the pain that they've gone through to get them to that place means that when they die and they realize that they're not actually dead, that they just come here.
Yeah.
Then it just fractures them because they don't want to go back. No, not again.
But it's just like how else can you get out of? You're now you're stuck in that worst part of your life.
Their spirit calms down before they're able to reincarnate again.
Yeah.
That's a really good way of viewing it. If you get yourself into that state and then you go in, essentially you're going to come back and you're going to have to face the same things again. So you need a little bit of massaging and then chuck back into the grinder, but really your best bet is just to face up, do it. Can I just say, from somebody who has jumped off of the ledge mentioned, as soon as my feet left the ground, I regretted it. The entire time way down, it felt like slow-mo. It felt like it lasted a minute, because all I did was panic, fear, what have I done? Then when I belly flopped onto the water, busted up my ankle and bruised the crap out of myself, and I was alive, I was the most fucking thankful I've ever been in my whole life. I'm not gonna lie. So that that is one thing that if anybody ever does get to that situation, 100%, you don't want to. And as that the instant that's too late is too late. And then the other whole side of that whole thing, is that I don't know. Anyway, yeah, go on.
So basically the message that I got from this is that the main thing that we can do to help someone who is having these kinds of struggles is to open our heart with unconditional love and to provide that unconditional love for that person, because oftentimes when a person is struggling like that, it is because they feel unloved and that there's no one for them to turn to and there's no hope. And so when you provide that loving and caring presence of unconditional love, and you're there for them, and you want them, and you need them, and you love them, and you care for them, and you're happy to listen to them, and all those things, that's what they really need, to help them see that there is someone here for them, that there is love in this world, there's some love that's keeping them here, and so that's a big part of it. And then this hope of reconciliation and healing, I think, is a beautiful message as well. Go ahead.
Yeah, like what you were saying, with what you're saying there, man, that really resonates with me, because I don't know, I can feel that I kind of feel, looking back, that a large chunk of my issues over my entire life have been spiritual based issues. I mean, I don't know whether anyone had this, but I look back and I try and trace back all the doing the shadow work, find why I'm depressed, why I have these things, why I have these uncontrollable, emotional triggers, like where they come from and that. And I really feel that a lot of them come down to spiritual things, like the world we live in. If you are naturally a spiritual seeker, can be really fucking difficult. It can be really, really hard, especially from a young age, where you're seeking from a really early point, trying to find some kind of answers, some way of feeling that, I don't know, that you're not delusional, that there's something real that you are, that's important, that you're determined to do. But then when you hit real life, and it's not there, and there's no convincing answers, and it's all just a big confusing thing, and then you don't fit in with anyone, and everything's horrible, and you don't get it. Why the hell would you want to stay here? So I mean, I don't know. I looking back, I kind of feel that the spiritual things, and the way that they're hidden from us in the West, is a chunk of the reason I felt that way. And a chunk of the reason why I continue to have issues with depression and things, because I'm still seeking, but I feel like a 10-year-old. I should have known all of this at 10, and I should have been practicing and flexing these muscles and doing the meditation all of that time. I mean, I don't know about anyone else, but just my how I feel about it. I mean, I don't know about anyone else.
I feel that way too, but we were told that we shouldn't. We were told, don't do that. Don't do this, don't do that. You're either going to go to hell, or you're not going to get resurrected, or whatever.
Boys don't cry.
Yeah, and we're conditioned. So, and that's, I believe that too. If I would have, if my parents would have been open, to different ways, I think I probably would have gone in a whole different direction with my life. I mean, I'm
think
glad.
It comes down to your parents' fault, though. I think it comes down to society.
No,
I think in the West,
I think
we are not trained how to understand spiritual things. We're not.
Right. We're told.
And that's what I think leads to all of these mental illnesses, all of these problems with not fitting in, with not feeling, with not understanding love, and with not understanding those things, and thinking that suicide's a better option. You have no connection to self here. Anyway, I apologize for jumping in.
I was always told suicide is, if you kill yourself, that's it. There's no. So, okay, say Catholics, if you kill yourself, you're not going to inherit heaven. You're going to purgatory, hell, whatever. And the witnesses, you're not. If you kill yourself, you're not going to get resurrection. And I don't know about the other religions, because I'm not familiar with Buddhist and all that kind of stuff, so I can't talk about that. But that put, not that I felt like I wanted to kill myself, but if somebody I knew did commit suicide, I'm like, oh, they're never going to get resurrected. And then as I got older, I realized that, well, people that typically kill themselves have there's something so drastically, they feel so bad. It's, we can't even wrap our heads around it. I cannot, because I've never felt like that, but I can understand it. I empathize. And I see it. I see it more often than not, that younger kids are wanting to commit suicide, and for me, way back when, I'd go, oh, why did they do that? They're not going to inherit the kingdom, or they're never going to live again. This stuff goes through your mind because you were so conditioned to hearing it. And now I'm like, okay, so if somebody opts themselves off, they have to come back and relearn everything. And I'm thinking, oh, hell no, I wouldn't do that, because I don't want to do that stuff again. If I got so bad, I'd have to think, oh no, I'm just going to get through this somehow, and muddle through it any way you can. And I know people have lots worse things that I've gone through, and everybody deals with things on their own. But if you have people that can understand you and you can talk to somebody, I think sometimes that's all they need. Sometimes, there's all different scenarios. So, but yeah.
Okay, so anyone heard of that Sadhguru guy?
Sadhguru, yeah.
Who?
Yeah,
Oh,
you
yeah.
heard of him?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because he said something. I don't normally like him. Like, don't get me wrong. He just like, some of the stuff he said just annoys me. But he said something that I really was actually kind of like, wow, that's kind of cool. And he was like, if you want to kill yourself, just try to hold your breath. Yeah, and it's this really cool thing. Try doing it. Just try to hold your breath until you die. Go on, how much determination can you put in? Yeah, because your body doesn't want to die.
No.
And it doesn't matter how much you try to tell it you do want to. It doesn't want to.
I don't think that
that's a mind-blowing bit of advice, in my opinion.
People working with death and dying, as I have in my nursing career, people don't want to die. They just don't. And I know that people have asked, is it okay to die? And I'm like, well, it's all up to you, and and these are terminal people. So, but in actuality, when it comes down to it, I don't think that we're not inherently something that we want to die. We all want to live forever, and that's my takeaway from my 30-some years, 40 years of being a nurse and stuff, that that's how I felt with everybody I've taken care of. So
I don't think that anybody ever wants to die.
Well,
I think that you have the ego that worries about it. Anyway, Andre, sorry, dude.
yeah,
I'm sorry.
It's just like great conversation, but we still got a lot of the session to go.
Okay, so let's do this.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
Quo, I feel immense joy to be a part of this circle and be in tune with the raw material, which probably the balancing exercise that I use to combat my feeling of lack that has manifested for so long with the views of myself, but the sense of lack, that fear of lack, even though I've made great progress, has manifested itself into something greater, that I feel like it's paralyzing me from looking at it or growing spiritually for the moment. It's shutting me down. So I wonder if you could maybe riff on unconditional love towards that, or show me a path, give me the words to tell myself that lack is not real.
You're good. Thanks, Adam. We're those of Kuo and receive and appreciate this query, my sister. We feel we are in the company of one with great energy and gusto for this path, who is, as your people would say, on the beam, as are all in the circle of returning and returning again to do that work, to attempt not strictly to be pulled and pushed by life, or to follow the narratives of the surrounding culture, but to stop and to reflect and to ask regarding the meaning, regarding how you may relate to that which is transpiring, regarding what it is that has revealed to you about yourself. And, my friend, it seems that you have made great progress in simply coming into the awareness of this operational dynamic within yourself, that being this seed belief in non-abundance and not having enough, in being incomplete or deficient, small, unsupported, and cut off from that infinite supply of love, of non-judgmental acceptance, of nakedly and truly being who you are fully in the light. This seed or core programming in your mind and body you see manifesting in different ways, as describing previously, in the form of that ever-seeming finite resource in your world which binds and enslaves your people. That being the finances, a powerful catalyst reflecting this experience of lack back to yourself. In receiving your question, my sister, we hear within its framing the seeds of its own balancing and solution. That is, that you see this dynamic within yourself as this outgrowth of a particular perception about yourself and about the nature of life. You understand that this perception did not arise from nowhere, but has roots that travel back to earlier experiences in the formative years, and perhaps even to lives past. Where a belief has arisen, such belief can, through knowing and accepting the self, really knowing and really accepting the self, be dissolved and be healed, such that the self does not call upon this belief any longer. It does not energize it into manifestation on an unconscious level, such that it falls away and the self can experience life without the encumberment of this belief. Helpful, though a teacher, it was in mirroring to the self, where the self has chosen limitation, where there needs to be no limitation. The ambience of lack, which you sense in various ways, which seems to be already there, as if you find yourself in this state, not as a consciously chosen experience, but as one you respond to because it is how your mind is operating and what your immediate vicinity seems to be reflecting back to you in certain ways. This is a distortion which you, sister, as with all distortions experienced by all entities on some level, inadvertently or intentionally chose. It is a quite common distortion endemic to a world whose founding mythos, or shall we correct this instrument, whose this instrument is becoming somewhat tongue-tied. We hit reboot to clarify that one of the founding assumptions of your peoples that has been practiced and held for so long that it seems to have become reality itself, operating as it does at the mythological level, is one of non-abundance, is one of scarcity. You, my friend, and all within the circle have been born into this environment, and it, in varying degrees, has impressed itself and imbued into the fabric of your own being, giving each the opportunity to either further identify with such programming as reality as it is, or to use the opportunity of lack, which begins with the awareness of its operation within the self, to discover the truth, which is that there is no lack, and can be no lack, that never has been any lack. Certainly, you as a consciousness inhabiting a physical vehicle, operating within a physical world, work with energies and materials and resources that have limits. Your incarnation itself is not unlimited. The body will cease viability, the sun will set, the patience will wear thin. But underneath those forms is forever and always infinite supply. Indeed, these dreams of limitations and boundaries, and you being one entity and other being another entity, manifest from this infinite space. From your incarnational perspective, this is a resource upon which you can draw as if it were a spring which never ceases, offering its life-giving crystalline healing waters. But on an even deeper level, this is not just a resource in potential to the conscious self, but it is who and what you are. It is your essence, your true nature, that you believe otherwise and are convinced that there is something more you need to be complete, that there is some outcome to fear, something to defend against, that you must protect this personality self from some anticipated, perhaps even vague harm or loss, is in a sense a denial of your greater truth. This is not to say that one needs to abandon discernment and reasonable analysis of the circumstances of their lives, the proper management of their resources, including that known to you as the money, but the use and the balanced understanding of those limited materials available to you need not become your identity or occupy the entirety of your consciousness. It can rather be that which is accepted as it is by the boundless being, who knows, not strictly through their philosophy and intellectual contemplation, necessary and helpful though that is, that they are not these thoughts, not this body, not these circumstances, but they are eternal, that the body shall pass, the incarnation shall come to a close, but the consciousness shall as always continue, that deep down within the self has never born, nor will the self ever die, because the self always and forever is. It only temporarily plays a game whereby it takes on the cloak of limitation and dons the costumes of the individual self, which has become separated from the other individual selves and become separated from the all. This sense of lack is one of those choke points that once so identified with the costume, the self cannot seem to look back, shall we say, to its source, to what it is, and the self becomes trapped, you may say, though never truly being the case, within its own concepts, within its own dream. This is not a condition to be fought, my sister, insofar as you feel the friction of this limitation, and as such your heart yearns to expand into greater being. Then it is your catalyst that invites you to contemplation of this question, and we would affirm and encourage that the simple act of continuing to bring this catalyst into your conscious purview is an act of processing this catalyst and learning from it. The conscious mind has a certain duty, shall we say, but it is not necessarily of its own soul to solve the catalyst, to find the master solution. Instead, the conscious mind can contemplate the catalyst, can analyze the self, asking penetrating questions of the self, including attempts to investigate the roots of the catalyst, to ask the self how the self feels, how this catalyst may be manifesting, how the self adds layers of distortion to the core catalyst with reactions of fear or judgment, how it may come up in relationships and cloud those relationships, and so forth. The more purely that the attention can be brought to bear upon the catalyst, the more activated the heart may be, that is, in the releasing resistance, disentanglement from judgment, and practicing acceptance, the more that this catalyst may sink down into the roots of mind, such that the subconscious can offer that insight which you seek, including helping the self to release its tight grip, shall we say, upon this programming. Ultimately, when the catalyst has been fully appreciated by the mind-body-spirit complex, having been processed, having offered the gem of insight, which is cloaked ever so cleverly at its center, then the self can choose a new and broader point of view, free of this catalyst. The self can choose new programming. Perhaps the catalyst dissipates altogether, or perhaps it visits the self from time to time, but without trouble, without boxing the self into the formerly tight and cramped space where the abundance of was forgotten and seemed to be impossibly out of reach, because that in the new programming and in the wider perspective the self knows beyond whatever may seem to transpire in the circumstances of one's life, that the self is an infinite being. Whatever harm, loss, or limitation that may seem to transpire on the surface, there is ever that peace which passeth all understanding, available to you and to all beings. All right. So analyzing catalyst and process it very thoroughly. That's what I got from that. What do you think?
Okay, so my thinking on this, yeah, is that there was Quo's version of money magic.
Tell me more. How is that money magic?
So from my own personal kind of, avoidance of lack and trying to get over my own lack complex, Yeah. I kind of went through lots of experiments to try to work out how this whole thing works. Did lots of reading, tried lots of things, and to me, it seems like, and from other people said, because this comes back to the whole the idea that Babylonian money magic is where money came from, and that idea of turning value into those little metal sigils, yeah, gives your spiritual energy to that money. So then the money itself becomes the spiritually worshipped entity. So thereby, when you directly try to call it, it says no. When you need it most, it withdraws itself. The more attention and the more want that you have for it, yeah, the bigger catalyst that lack is, yeah, the more you chase after it, the more attention you give it, the more you give it,
So-
the more you give it, the more you give it,
I think
and then the less it gives you. The way to do these things is to ignore money, not want money, not think
Well-
about it, not let that catalyst manifest as this horrible thing, and then it loosens its grip, and this money will come to you. Anyway, sorry, Andre, go on.
So I think like wanting money is the belief that you don't have enough. So
Exactly,
they're
it's the
saying
lack.
living in abundance. So feel that lived abundance of having enough, that infinite supply of love, acceptance, creativity, and like that having that faith that all is well and all will be well, and then that is what will continue to manifest. You having enough.
100%.
You know, like that is one of my core beliefs, is that if I need money or something else, then someone will seek to provide it for me. You know, clients
100%.
will reach
And
out
that
to
right
me
there is the
or
difference,
something
right?
like that. Yeah.
If you
mhm.
directly tried to ask the universe to give you money, wouldn't arrive. Yeah, but the key word there is abundance. Yeah, right. You put your faith that you will always have abundance, synchronistically. Yeah, that you deserve it, and the universe will provide it. Yeah, you don't want excess money. You're not greedy. You don't want to be a megastar. You don't want to be rich and have millions of pounds in the bank. But trust that there will always be what you need there. And then just relax. Don't worry about all of the stress and all of the catalysts that money provides. The universe will provide it, and it does. Right, but it's only when you loosen your grip, when you realize that the want of it, the perceived lack, is the catalyst, and that's the thing that will keep you in that catalyst. You know, and it's only when you get past that and you realize that abundance is everywhere. And it's not just things like money, it's things like food. You know, when you realize that you can walk down the road and you can find hundreds of different types of plant that just grow around like weeds that you can eat, and you realize that there's such a massive abundance of food, there's no need for a supermarket. You know, like it's alternative ways of understanding the world around you via realizing that the abundance that's there, rather than trying to force the universe to give you the thing that you want.
Have
And then you never learn
confidence
from the
that
catalyst.
it will provide.
Right. Well,
There
I
you
have
go.
I have something to say about that.
Go ahead.
When I'm in my younger years, going to school and whatnot, I lived on barely nothing, and I don't know what it was, but I got a check in the mail. I don't know, I don't remember where it was from, but it was a check that was owed to me, and I'm like, I really needed this right now, because I had no money. It's like, wow. And if I think about it throughout the years, um, something always came to me when I needed it. I didn't ask; it just came, and that's pretty much how I think my life has been. I mean, I know I made, I know I went to school and I made that happen, but other just little things, it was just really, it just came out of nowhere. So it does happen.
I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I'm a big fan of the whole laws of attraction thing. You know, and that for me, like when putting those kind of things into practice and actually seeing things just manifest out of nowhere incredibly fast. I mean, have I told you about the bike story? Andre, I know you had something to say. I don't want to.
No, well, I was
It's very
just gonna
quick.
go ahead, do this, and then we'll move
It's
on
very
to the
quick.
next one.
It's one of my favourite manifestation stories.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I've only got like a BMX rather than like a mountain bike style push bike, right? So now my mate Hector's got this Swish thing, it's a huge mountain bike thing. You could ride to Scotland on it. It's a monster, right? So we go on a bike ride. I'm on this little BMX. He's on this incredible bike. We get to the other end. I feel like I'm going to die because I've had to put so much effort in. He's just got there. He's hardly broken a sweat. So the next day, I'm walking along and I'm like, God, I really need to get myself a better bike. There's no way I could hack that again. I'll die if I have to do it again. I need to get a proper nice mountain bike thing. Yeah, so I'm walking down the road. Yeah, and I'm talking maybe 300 or 400 yards down the road. Yeah, we're talking maybe 10 houses from when I thought this thought. Someone walked out onto their front garden, yeah, with an old push bike, walked it out the front and just left it on the front fence. And I was like,
Wow.
what? Seriously? The same road. I hadn't even turned a corner. And he just appeared in front of me. So I was like, dude, are you doing anything with that bike? And he was like, nah, mate, the brakes are gone. You can have it if you want. It can work that fast.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
You know?
Fixing the brakes is easy. Yeah.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, to be fair, that actually did take me another couple of months. Weird.
Okay, well.
I think that was more of an ADHD thing, though.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I have spare brakes in my, bag. Anyway.
I have to say, I still prefer my little BMX. Well better. Just not for long distances.
Yeah. All right. Adam, would you care to read the
All
question
right,
for
I
us?
have a question for Quo. Many of our psychologists and hypnotherapists work with their patients and have discovered attached entities, sometimes known as earthbound spirits, who have successfully made the transition into light, or in some cases, don't want to, and cause their patients quite a bit of suffering and distress. In fact, some physical pain and emotional suffering. And these therapists have been able to help these patients release, in many cases, these attachments. My question is that my question is, are these the creations of the mind of the patient, or are they perhaps an actual earthbound spirits who are actually attached to these people for whatever reason? And if that is the case, wouldn't this be a profound violation of their free will of these patients, since they are oftentimes completely unaware of these attached entities? No, because they eat trash food.
Okay. We are those known to you as Co, and we thank you for this query, my brother, which has multiple layers we find. We would begin by saying that it is impossible to give a general answer as to whether the source of such experience is strictly of the self's own making in the patterns of their own thoughts, or whether indeed there is some external agent, non-physical being, which has attached itself to such an entity. For someone is making a lot of noise. I'm gonna mute you, Ed. Mute. Okay. And for there are a great variety of possibilities in this situation that you've described. But you are correct, my brother, in the supposition that indeed, insofar as there is an illusion of different entities, that the incarnate being within your third density can receive the service, shall we say, of a non-physical being in this sort of invasive or parasitic way, whereby that energy attaches to the incarnate being. This can indeed be the function of an earthbound spirit as you have described it. There are various dimensions within time-space or the non-physical realm of your existence, populated by great variety of entities of various grades of consciousness and ability and agency, just as is true in the physical plane, just as is true of that known to you as a virus and bacteria. Some there are upon these planes whose intelligence is such that they may have an agenda, shall we say, and that they may have intelligence sufficient to seek to offer this negatively oriented service to a third density entity which is discovered to be vulnerable to such a service. Others, to connect back to our metaphor of the virus, may be likened more to programs, to specific energies that have lives of their own, that are inhabitants of the planetary shadow, shall we say, the shadow of the planetary mind of those great regions where live all of the stored pain and trauma and wounding, the fear that and the hatred that exists within the collective mind and imbues itself into the individual in various ways. Such entities have varying degrees of autonomy as well, and may even be agents to one degree or another of even higher density negatively oriented entities who may attempt to use such entities toward their ends. As to whether this is a violation or infringement upon the sovereignty of the third density incarnate entity, we would offer a yes and a no. The conscious self of a third density entity would in nearly all cases not seek or desire such an experience. It would indeed seem an infringement upon the boundary upon that which they wish for themselves, and it may even be intended as such from the attaching negative entity. However, on a deeper level, the attachment happens in a correspondence with and in proportion to some pre-existing vulnerability or distortion or a chink in the armor within the self. There may be some unacknowledged opening to some degree. It is not, we would clarify, an opening which is desired in the sense that which the entity thinks I, as an entity, desire the experience of attachment, but rather is a point within the self which can be exploited. This would seem an unfortunate situation from the perspective of the incarnate being, particularly as these seemingly uninvited attachments do not bring messages of joy and well-being, peace and ease onto the self, but rather they bring the opposite, offering intrusive thoughts, self-sabotaging instructions, energies and impulses and prompts that precipitate separation and disharmony and otherwise seem to deter the self from the light which it seeks and the polarization which is its path. It may indeed seem unfortunate from this perspective, but even this catalyst can be understood in the dynamic frame within which you understand the polarities of consciousnesses themselves. The service of those of the negative polarity only truly harms or defeats or limits the self when such catalyst is not used. When the self enters a state of fear or diminishment or aloneness, and there arises resistance, judgment, or any matter of cascading layers of distortion as the self struggles and fights against this catalyst, any number of thoughts and patterns of behavior that distort the relationship of the self with the self and with other associates and the loved ones of those not using the catalyst. The self-destruction or harm of others becomes a possibility of the thinking becomes confused and distorted. But if instead that catalyst is used, is brought into the light of the conscious awareness, is allowed to enter the open heart of understanding and forgiveness, then this catalyst becomes a great service to the self, much in the way that negative greeting can, as it, in metaphor, becomes a highlighter of those areas within the self which are unintegrated and which require the attention of the conscious self. The attachment or the negative being energizes these portions of the self as if to make a giant squeaky wheel within the self which says to the self, here is where the love is needed, here is where the understanding is needed, here is where perhaps part of yourself has been rejected and split off. And the self then has a great opportunity to practice praise and thanksgiving for this opportunity that such has been brought to its attention, and the self can, through careful work that may also involve the guidance of the professional, of the friend, of the healer, reach a place where they reclaim the power that has been given away to this attachment, declaring who they are in the firm knowing of their wholeness. And as is the immune system which rejects the service of the virus, so too can the energy body of the incarnate being reject the service of the entity who would offer the attachment as not needed at this time upon the journey. Yeah, so basically it's saying, well, yeah, there are negative entities, and
Mhm.
yeah, they can bother you, and the main thing is to use them as a catalyst for your spiritual growth. um, and I've certainly found that to be true. um, at least in my experience, when, like, say, I'm laying down to go to sleep, and then I start having unusual negative thoughts, and then I recognize this, and I say, thank you, and I love you, and I forgive you, and thank you for reminding me, there is spirituality, and I love you for your presence and this opportunity to grow, and in love and in kindness for all beings, and may you have joy, and may you have goodness, and may you have love. All right, what do you guys think?
Hmm. um, I think that, well, when people get into a downward spiral of either being depressed or whatever, they can, like they said, you can open yourself up for a negative or a lower energy that's not out to better you. Or you, well, in your instance, you learned from it. Okay, we're gonna go that way. It's a catalyst. You learn from it. Um, so, so if somebody feels like they have an attachment, um, which I think that could happen, yes. Um, maybe being, how would you become more positive? How am I? What am I trying to say? How would you get rid of that entity other than what you have expressed, or becoming more positive and feeling more joy? I understand that a lower being could be working for a higher entity, not necessarily for your own good. So how would you rid yourself of that that entity or the energy that's attached to you? I mean, I know movies are really elaborated, and they build on all this possession and all that. Um, how would you rid yourself of something like that?
So entities, well, basically a negative entity, their thing is that they want to be service to self. And
Mm-hmm.
so the thing that they can't do is be of service to you. Because if they're of service to you, even like 1 or 2%, they can depolarize and stop being service to self entities. And
That's
so
right.
by
Yeah.
thanking them and by being grateful to them, you are depolarizing them, because you're saying that what they're doing is a service. And and then they have to flee, because they're like, oh no, they're on to me. you know
Right.
like,
Right.
I know,
Mm.
like, I think it was just yesterday, and I was thinking, well, I was laying in my hammock, and I was trying to go to sleep, and then, like, I had like a negative thought, and I felt it over here, and then I was like kind of like allowing it to go on, and then it was kind of escalating, and then I heard like cats screaming in the background and like clawing at each other, like this was in like physical. I was like, love and be kind to one another, and then like the cats quieted down, and like that the thoughts went away. It's like it's just all like really purified. It's there's so much power in positivity. Like, a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people really underestimate it, you know because I guess our society, we have like a habit of focusing on the negative, but that actually only feeds the negative. So when we focus on the positive, that is kind of revolting to the negative path, and then they flee.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yep.
I don't know if you've heard the expression, kind of, some people, they're like, oh, you like peace and love, oh, that makes me feel sick, or something like that, because they're like really hardcore thugs or something like that. I don't know, but it's the same concept.
Mm-hmm.
So by promoting peace, love, and kindness, you're scaring them off, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Ed. Did you have a comment on the passage?
So so I missed a bit of that. Can you hear me okay? Because I've had to reposition my phone because
Oh,
it started running out of battery, so I
hmm,
had to pull the
yeah,
extension lead out
yeah, I
and
can hear you.
things.
Hmm.
You're building
Okay,
a house
so
over there?
no, it's just I had to pull the extension lead out of the greenhouse.
Oh, that's your greenhouse. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm building a
Hmm.
greenhouse too.
Yeah, I had another one, but it was one of those aluminium ones, and the wind blew it down the garden.
Oh, I see.
So I'd stay with glass. Glass greenhouses way better.
Oh, okay. I
Anyway,
see.
Hmm.
my thoughts on this. Now I missed the bit at the beginning where he said where these entities came from. So
The
fill me
from
in on that.
spiritual realms. Um,
Okay, spiritual realms.
here,
You
let
mentioned
me.
astral. You know, what did it? What?
Here. Well, it's he was saying there's different. Some of them
Hmm.
are inhabitants of the planetary shadows, so those are
Yeah,
programs, the shadow of the
yeah,
planetary mind, and
yeah,
so those are the ones that are more like a virus, and then there's also the conscious entities. Um, so some of them who are on the inner planes who have an agenda, and
yeah. Okay.
so they're trying to achieve something. And then there was also an allusion to the space pirates here, agents of the one degree or another higher density negative entities who may attempt to use them towards their end.
Okay, right. So the the way that really kind of the occult thing kind of views this, yeah, is like I suppose in their version of the kind of fourth density step up, then there's lots of creatures, sentient creatures going from the baseline moving upwards. Like, your first incarnation at fourth density might be as some kind of slug creature in fourth density, in theory, right? And that really
Hmm.
these things they eat kind of third density emotions and feelings and light. So, as we grow and we start to pump out more light, you know, we essentially become a target for these things to come and eat that light. Now, the higher they go up, the more sentient they get, yeah, and the more the effect they can have on us, or the interaction they can have between us. Now, the idea of a full possession, as in them completely taking you over, yeah, would only happen if you gave them permission to enter. Yeah,
Hmm.
but that doesn't stop basically anything from becoming attached to your aura and feeding on your emotions. Right? Now, that's why things like the LBRP, protection rituals, burning sage, all of these different things to cleanse your aura, to cleanse these energies away, to have that protection, that protected bubble around you. Yeah,
Hmm.
and all those processes are designed to push those entities outside of that aura using resonance energies that they can't be around. Right? It's what the smoke
Right.
in the sage does. It puts a vibration inside the air that messes them up, so they have to leave. Right? So by changing the vibration inside here, you push them outside, yeah, and you cleanse this area. Same thing with the LBRP. The pentagrams, calling in the archangel powers, creates a barrier that protects you from those entities coming in. Now, there's a brilliant book called Succubi and Incubi, which basically kind of talks about all the different types that they believed in, you know, proper kind of Christian beliefs, like Christian
Hmm.
mysticism, what they did exorcisms on, and the difference between that and a demonic entity. Right now, also the bit that he talks about these different planes, they would be things from the astral planes, yeah, which are essentially planes made of the consciousness of thought. Yeah, so every single negative thought that's ever been of a similar vibration in the whole universe, every single that's ever been of that same vibration of fear, will essentially amalgamate and make a place. Yeah, a plane, an
Hmm.
existence based on that chromatographic separation of emotion. Yeah, there can be entities in there that could be the whole as thought. How powerful could that be in a real sense of a spiritual entity? Now, if you were
Hmm.
then, say smoking DMT, for example, didn't know what you were doing, and you were really depressed, and you thought this will cheer me up, so you smoke that, and you end up in the astral plane of depression. Who's to say you're not going to meet some creature there that's going to be like, I can cheer you up. I'll just take all your negativity away from you, man. Look, I'll just suck it out of you. You'll feel so much happier. doing your service, right? It's just eating your negative feelings, right? So you're like, oh, dude, yeah, come on, come with me back to my body. Let's sort you out. So then, you know, you don't realize that you are then, it wants to feed on your negative emotion. Yeah. So it will go around and fuck up your life, smash up every single thing you hold dear, cause you so much pain and suffering inside yourself, just so it can feed on it. And that's how people get trapped into these things.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the bottom feed ones, they just attach to you and you can get rid of them. Yeah, you burn something, well, get rid of it. But once you give something permission like that, it's very, very difficult to get rid of it, because you said I could do it. I'm not going.
Well, you could revoke permission.
Well, this is it. And this is where beaming love it becomes so important, right? If it eats negative emotion, and you sit there and consciously beam love at it in its most purest form. I love you. I don't care that you're a soul-sucking demon. I love you.
Yeah, that's a good one.
In its purest form, then that positive emotion that you're pushing at it is the complete opposite of what it eats. Yeah. In fact, by you beaming that at it, it reverses its polarity. Instead of it gaining more negative polarity by eating all your negative shit, you're giving it positive shit, and it's losing negative. That's like fire. It burns them, so they run away.
Yes.
Quick as they possibly can.
Yep.
But while it's in there doing all these horrible things to you, trying to love anything is impossible, because it's causing you so much negative stuff. How can you turn around and tell me that you love it? No, you've destroyed my life. You killed my cat. Ah! You know what I'm saying? You're not going to do it.
But that's what they want. That's what they want.
That's
So
what
you gotta sit down. You gotta do the meditation.
That's it, right? And you've got to open that heart chakra and beam that green ray at it, because otherwise everything.
Oh well, you know.
Gotta use that catalyst
You're just giving
with
it more
love.
food.
Yeah. You know,
That's the sort of those occasions.
my dog died unexpectedly, you know, last week. And my husband's like really on this. We could have done this, we could have done that. No, there was nothing to do. And I, of course, had to put him, you know, to sleep. And he wants to bring this up. And I go, can we just focus on the nice stuff and not all this bad stuff? Because you're really making me, ew, it's making me, ew. I go, nope, you have to stop. I said, you have to stop. Look at all the good stuff. He was a great dog. Look at all the fun stuff, puppies, you know, all the way up. And I go, you know what? Maybe in a little bit you'll get another dog, you know. Of course, we're getting 2 pups tomorrow, but I had to stop him. I put my hands up. I said, you have to stop. This has to stop, because you're just cycling down, down, down. And the whole household is like, it's stressy, you know. I go, just think about all the good stuff. And
can I just say, you know, look what happened to Don when the cat died.
What happened to Don when the cat died? I don't know about that.
Don died.
That was like the really funny, like where the hell does this come from? Like raw material one, like 2 or 3 from the end, right before, you know, Don done his thing, where Don just like desperately begging Raph to cure his cat.
It was pretty silly, yeah.
It was very strange, very, very strange, considering how close to the end it was.
Yeah, Don was lost and confused, unfortunately. He did not pass the initiation. Right? That's my conclusion from reading the material, anyways, and from talking to the people who were involved and things like that. But okay, there's a very related question here. Adam, can you read it? You need to unmute first.
Thank you, Quo. How might an individual go about using or interacting with their energy body to both protect the self or help a friend who may be suffering from a similar affliction?
Thank you. We are those of Kyo and have received this query. We are generally not inclined toward the prescriptive response. However, we may offer some general principles toward the development of this protection in relationship to this circumstance. We find that prayer or invocation can be of aid to such an entity on a couple of levels. I'm just going to have to mute you again, Ed.
Sorry,
There's
guys.
some echo.
Yeah, mute me.
Okay. Particularly if it is one known to your peoples and having enjoyed prior development, in that it may alert those upon the inner planes who would offer their service in a positive fashion to be of support, to lend their energies to the self. But on a greater level, the prayer offers the mind an opportunity to focus, to reclaim the attention that was inadvertently given over to this attachment, to come back into the center, to become more conscious, to the ultimate declare who and what the self is by asserting that they are a being of light, that they seek the light, that love enters and fills every portion of their being, the energy body included, that grateful though the self is for the self, the service is no longer needed. The greatest protection, my brother, is love itself. As the increasing ability to inhabit and vibrate this primal core frequency of love, it is its own immune system, shall we say, and there are many portals to the generation and development of this love within this self. It is a holistic total working on mind, body, and spirit. There is no one ritual. The same portals are known to you, including the strengthening of those bonds, that loved ones, the seeking to serve, whereas you are able the connecting with and appreciating of nature, the application of love to your own being, and the realization that you are this nature which you appreciate. You are the best qualities that you see in the other. You are nothing less than divinity itself, that the foundation of your consciousness is the sacred, and you are that. It is your birthright and your being, and no energy in the universe, attachment or otherwise, has the power to tell you otherwise, unless you or such an entity in this circumstance gives such power and such belief to it. So it is as a rediscovery of that core being and the love inherent there. Many are the paths to this love and awareness within, as we commend you, my brother, and for your fidelity to this path of the truth-seeking, as had been expressed in the round-robin portion of the circle, the attempts to express forgiveness and love where a negative seeming personal interaction may prove difficult, and many of your peoples would respond unconsciously with no further attempt to process the catalyst. Indeed, you, as is the true with others in this circle, seek instead to transmute that difficult experience into love and light. At this time, we transfer to Gary. Okay, yes, okay. So, it's basically what we were just talking about. Love them. Show them the love. All right. So here, there's one last question. So let's have read this, and then we'll reflect on them both after.
Yes, Quo. I have a question from F, who quotes Latwii as saying, if any guide or presence should give you the specific answer to this query, then your opportunity to gain and the spiritual strength required to solve this dilemma would be removed. So F's question is, what is the meaning of that sentence? Does that mean that when someone has a dilemma or is processing any emotional and trauma, is it better to not to find a helper, a meditation guru, or taking advice from others?
Thank you, Adam. I am Kuo, and am aware of your query, my brother. This is a query which has a variety of responses according to the level of activity within the mind-body-spirit complex that is able to focus upon the type of energy expenditure necessary for dealing with any difficulty. It may be that an entity has experience with difficulties in its past experiences and has learned how to expand its own energies in a manner which is fruitful for this entity. This is a more advanced, shall we say, process that is able to be effectuated by those who have traveled this path for some time and have discovered that the difficulties of the life experience are the means by which growth is attained. For the difficulties of change and advancement upon the spiritual path are often painful in that they require that one expand one's consciousness in a manner which can accept the pain of change, realizing that it is of a beneficial nature. Thus, such an entity would not need the guru or the teacher to stand in its place in order to accomplish the dealing with difficulties. However, It may be that an earlier time in their life experience that it would not have had the opportunity to reflect upon such difficulties in the manner in which we have just described, and would need, shall we say, advice from the teacher, the guru, and that entity which has such experience. This is oftentimes an efficient manner of learning how to respond to difficulties. However, it is also takes away from the responsibility of the seeker itself to move forward on his own path in a manner which activates within itself those qualities of love, of light, acceptance, of the ability to move forward in the path of its own seeking, that may be in what you would call the trial and error manner. This is oftentimes a slower method of travel. However, it is a method which eventually strengthens the seeker in its journey of expressing and experiencing responses to difficulties. So this, in each case, the free will choice of each seeker of truth to find within itself in the meditative state those paths which it wishes to travel and how it wishes to travel them. For it is an infinite creation with many different paths in each incarnation that are travelled as lessons are learned and are pre-incarnatively programmed. Thusly, we can say that whatever feels is the most appropriate intuitively or through meditation to the seeker of the truth is that path which can be travelled, always keeping in mind that there are alternatives that may be experienced and expressed at a future time, as you would call it. At this time, we would thank each entity within the circle of seeking for being present, for bringing the heartfelt feelings, the difficulties, the joys, the imagination of all that is possible within the infinite creation that exists within your being. We thank you for experiencing this type of life pattern and of sharing it with those around you this day and always. We are those of Kuo, and we have travelled this path with you today in great joy, and we would leave each now as we have found you in the love and in the light of the one infinite creator, Adonai Vasubaragus.
Vasubaragus.
All right. So
I haven't heard that. I haven't heard that at the end of anything. Vasubaragus.
that means you are our brothers.
Oh.
So
okay.
Adonai means the God that is yours. You are brothers.
Mhm.
Yeah, Adonai is one of the kind of the names of God that has got all the correct resonance sounds.
Oh. Okay.
So it's kind of, and it's one that I think it translates to. I can't remember. It's something weird to do with like the one with the Lord or something like that. I can't fully remember,
Mhm.
but it would make sense why they use it as that term. You know,
Mhm.
because once again, like a lot of this comes down to the same magical stuff. You know, I don't know whether that was Don's influence or whatever else, but it's not just them that uses it. It's across the board the name used in most channelings, I'd say, for the same term. So, yeah, like I said, the fact that it has the resonances, which not many of the ways we, the word God doesn't. For example, I only found out recently that word God is actually was put in with the ineffable doctrine, and the name God.
Title.
Yeah, the name God. Yeah, like we call them God. Yeah, came from like you said, it's a title for generalization for a higher deity, but the actual term itself came from the Mesopotamian god. The Mesopotamian, it might have been Canaanite, I can't remember, but his name was Gad, right? And he was the god of wealth, success, and money.
Oh, in English.
Like that just blew my mind.
Yeah, because
That just blew my mind. The root word of the word we all use as God comes from a deity.
That kind of makes sense.
Money.
Yeah, look
about our money.
Yeah, look
Dollars.
at Protestantism. Like
God
Anglicanism.
we
It's
trust.
crazy,
In
right?
God we
It's
trust.
so money
Exactly.
oriented.
This is it. Like that's just bonkers, right? That just blew my mind when I read that. I was like, that's just mad. The root of the word God is directly linked to a god of money. Anyway, but the one that we skipped over, the you can mount defenses using love thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know whether I've ever shared this with you guys before, but my own little defensive method that I've been using for maybe 20 odd years never let me down, and it's bloody incredible. Right. So basically, whenever I do any of these things, this is my little kind of protection. Yeah, my little barrier that I don't have to worry about whatever I come in contact with. Yeah, because essentially, I just, from my heart chakra, open up kind of like a ball of little green light, green energy, and I literally just let that expand to fill up my whole aura. So I'm just walking along inside a bubble of impenetrable love. And then anything negative that wants to get to me has got to walk through a wall of love that would basically burn it to ash. So only positive things that are going to accept and are going to want to embrace my love and interact in a positive light will only ever be able to fully interact with me. You know, I've had meditations where I've tried to go like in shaman realms and the different kind of astral planes and that, and I've had things that come out that look like these huge creatures, like massive insect things, like huge, like size of buses, and they've just hit my aura shell and just literally just been torn apart because they are negative, and they're hitting a wall of the most pure positivity they can think of. And I feel pity, I feel sorry for them, but they're destroying themselves when all I'm trying to do is love them. So this whole little defense, he's a whole little saying that love is like the defensive barrier, and it's all you need. It's like literally what I've been doing, like in meditation space my entire life. It's kind of mad. Anyway, the second one I thought was a bit kind of like, you know, just trying to tie things up. I don't know about you guys. So my phone keeps glitching out. Like the last bit, like. What do you think about that bit?
Yeah, well, every morning ground clear protect, at nighttime ground clear protect. So I do that, but I do the bubble of pink. I've always done this pink diamond, an inch thick, and then I fill it up with source protective white golden light, and then I always I am, you know, like senior in my space and in my area in my universe, and I only will allow beings of higher level that are for service sellers, you know, that kind of thing. That's what I've been doing.
I had a friend once. She was not a well girl. She had BPD and more than likely some kind of other, you know, psychotic mental illness. But she used to perceive orbs, you know, spirit orbs, like all the time, like everywhere she went. Yeah, and she'd get them, and she felt like she was just crowded by them all the time. Yeah. Now I tried to show her the kind of the shell technique, but she couldn't do the love thing. Yeah. So I just said to her to try to just kind of focus the intent that you want them to leave you alone. Yeah. Into like a little finger gun, and then shoot them. And visualize in your head that you've got a little beam of light coming out your fingers, out of the orb, telling it to go. And she got really good at this. Like literally, she used that to clear all these orbs from her for ages. It was like, blah, 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 blah. And that's it. She'd just be able to go to bed.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's past 9, guys, and I gotta head to bed, as it is. And
Well, it's 2 a.m, so I suppose I should do the same.
yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. And so, as we found you, we leave you in the love and in the light of the one infinite Creator. Go forth, therefore, rejoicing in the power and in the peace of the one infinite Creator.